Module 2, Building Background Knowledge. What are animal defense mechanisms? Unit 1, Lesson 1. Guiding question. What are animal defense mechanisms? The word defense means to protect yourself or keep something or someone from getting hurt. The word mechanism means a natural reaction in response to something. So a defense mechanism means how animals react to protect themselves from harm. Learning targets. I can infer about animal defense mechanisms based on information in pictures and text. I can support my inferences with details and examples from pictures and text. I can document my research using a research journal. Now you're going to be doing a carousel. We'll be looking at pictures and text from your upcoming module to help you build background knowledge on what animal defense mechanisms might be. As you look at these pictures and texts, think, what can I infer about these animals and how they defend themselves? Here are 3 pages from the book Venom that your teacher will be reading out loud to you. The page Home is Where the Venom is about spiders. Pretty Poison, about butterflies. And 8 Arms to Hold You, about octopi. Your job is to examine each picture and think about the question above. What can you infer about animal defense mechanisms from these pictures and or text? Here are some pictures of animals that would be found in your animal behavior book. There's a walking stick insect, an opossum playing dead, a poison dart frog, a cinnabar caterpillar, and a hoverfly. I want you to examine each picture and think about the question up above. What can you infer about animal defense mechanisms from these pictures and or text? Take a look at this picture of an armadillo. Their name, which means little armored one in Spanish, refers to their bony armor. Examine this picture closely and think to yourself, what can you infer about animal defense mechanisms from this picture? Think about how that armor helps this armadillo survive. In this picture is the springbok gazelle. Take a look at this picture. It bounces in the air with an arched back and stiff legs. This motion is called stotting or pronking. Think about how this animal's behavior helps it survive. Take a look at this millipede. They have a tough exoskeleton, and their main defense is to roll into a tight ball. Think about how this animal's defense mechanism can help it survive. This is a picture of a mimic octopus. It is named for its stunning ability to mimic or copy not one, but at least 3 dangerous animals that share its tropical home. I want you to think about how looking like a dangerous animal would help this animal survive. Think about that. Here is a picture of a monarch butterfly. It feeds on poisonous milkweed plants as a caterpillar. It's unharmed by the poison, but it stores it up in its body and makes itself poisonous to predators. Think about how that defense mechanism helps this butterfly survive. The following is a quote from your animal behaviors book. Much of an animal's self-defense behavior comes from within it. Most animals are born knowing how to defend themselves. Scientists call this inborn knowledge instinct. Think about how that instinct would help an animal survive. Here is another quote from your animal behaviors book. Camouflage, also known as cryptic coloration, is the one-size-fits-all defense in the world of animals. Animals depend on their cryptic colorations, or camouflage, to help them blend in. Think about how would blending in help an animal survive. Here's the cover of the book Venom that your teacher will be reading out loud to you. What do you think Venom means? And what do you notice about this book? What do you think you're going to learn from it? Let's take a look at the back cover of Venom. It says, toxic creatures can be found almost anywhere. In the woods, in the seas, in the desert, in your own backyard, even in your room. Some, such as a poison dart frog and pufferfish, have poisonous skin or other organs. Others are venomous. They have stingers, spines, or fangs to inject their toxins. You know some of them already. Black widow spiders, killer bees, rattlesnakes, stingrays, and scorpions. There are lots of other toxic species too. Just take a look inside, if you dare. After reading that, now what do you think venom means? If you're thinking that it's an animal that, like a snake that could bite you and inject poison into you, that means it is venomous. And that is correct. So that's what venom means. These are the pages that will be read aloud to you today. Take a look. What do you notice about these pages? And what do you wonder as you're looking at them? What text features do you see? Do you see the title, photos and captions, subheadings like if looks could kill, they wouldn't need to poison, a diagram over to the right? Think about all these text features that help you as the reader make sense of this very informational text that you're going to be reading. Introduction. Don't eat, don't touch, just don't. All over the world, there are animals that can hurt or kill you with a bite, a stab, a sting, or a spit, and others that can hurt or kill if you bite them. These creatures can be found in many habitats. They ride the waves, they hide in the sand, they coil around branches, they buzz around the garden, they even sleep in your closet, and every one of them is toxic. Some animals are poisonous. They can make you sick if you eat them, or if you absorb their toxins through your skin. They use their poison purely as self-defense against predators, and that includes people. Sometimes a poisonous critter tastes bad enough to make a predator spit it right out. If your dog or you were to bite a toxic toad, yuck. But sample some pufferfish and chances are you wouldn't even know you could be consuming a poison that might kill you. The most famed toxic critters are venomous. This means that they must inject their poison, their venom, into a victim by means of fangs, teeth, spines, stingers, or spurs. These creatures include snakes, spiders, jellyfish, bees, wasps, scorpions, and a bunch of less familiar animals. But believe it or not, if they can avoid it, none of these creatures wants to waste their venom on inedible you. I want you to think to yourself, what is one thing you learned while listening to page 4? According to the text, what does poisonous mean? And for that, you'd have to look back at paragraph 2 where it says, some animals are poisonous. They can make you sick if you eat them or if you absorb their toxins through your skin. They use their poison purely as self-defense against predators, and that includes people. So according to the text, poisonous means that some part of their body is poisonous, and if you ate them or touched them, that poison might be absorbed into your skin. I want you to think to yourself, why do you think the author titled this book Venom? If looks could kill, they wouldn't need poison. One reason animals use venom is to catch prey. Insects, rodents, fish, small mammals, and even others of their own kind. People are too big to be food for venomous animals. However, if by accident or on purpose we harm these creatures, they will strike back to protect themselves. Self-defense is a second major reason animals use venom. A third reason is defense of their family or community. How dangerous a poisonous or venomous animal is to humans depends on how strong its toxins are, how much of them get into you, and how your body reacts to them. What is one thing you learned while listening to page 5? I want you to pause, take a moment, and think about that response. An animal uses their venom for 3 reasons, according to the text. So I'm asking you now, why might an animal use venom? See if you can locate that information. After looking back at the text, you might find that an animal uses venom, 1, to catch prey, 2, to protect themselves, 3, to protect their family or community. Guiding questions. How do animals' bodies and behaviors help them survive? How can a writer use knowledge from their research to inform and entertain? Let's take a closer look at the first question. What does survive mean? You've probably heard this word, and based on how I've used it throughout this video, you can probably tell that that means to survive means to live or to keep on living. And the other part of that question, which is their bodies and their behaviors, what I want you to think about is that their bodies are how they physically look and how their bodies are actually made. And the behaviors are how they act. And so if you think about, your body and, what you have 2 arms, 2 legs, but then your behavior is how you walk around or how you look at things and how you react to things. And so the question is, how do animals, both their bodies and the things that they do, their behaviors, help them survive? Now taking a look at the second question a little closer, it's how can a writer use knowledge from their research to inform and entertain? So first of all, what does it mean to inform? Well, you probably noticed that that's the base of the word information. So to inform means to give somebody information. And what does it mean to entertain? Well, to entertain means to give somebody something that they enjoy doing, okay? So you might use something from this information. You might find it both informative and you might find it really interesting and entertaining. And then finally, the last question I have for you is, what is research? And research is what the information that you gather from all the books and that you read or the websites that you look at, all that information you gather is called your research. And so the question for this module is, how can a writer use knowledge from their research to both inform and entertain? Because that's going to be part of your performance task. Performance task. After researching informational texts on animal defenses, you'll be creating a choose-your-own-adventure book about your chosen animal. And this is at the very end of the module. This is what you'll be doing. You're going to write an introduction that describes your animal's physical characteristics, so what they look like, their habitat, their predators, their defense mechanisms. Then you're going to write a little story where your animal is your main character. You'll give it a name and you'll describe how a predator encounters it. And then your animal has two choices to survive. They're going to choose one of their defense mechanisms in one ending, and then you'll write a second ending that will show if they chose to use their other defense mechanism. So you're going to use details and examples from your research that you gather in units 1 and 2, and you're going to develop that story. You're going to use lots of science words and important things that you learn throughout this to help you write that story. And finally, to end, I want you to locate this in your Animal Defenses Research Journal. This is where you're going to be gathering all that wonderful information that you learn. And you can go ahead and start filling out part of this chart, not the whole thing, because over the next several days, your class will record your knowledge, any questions that you have, and anything you learn in this chart. Okay, so what you already know would go in the column labeled, in that first column where I think I know. Okay, so this is called a KWL chart. K stands for what we already know or think we know. It's all that prior knowledge. The middle column there, the I want to know, or W, is what you'd want to learn, what questions you already have. And then finally, once we're into the unit, you're going to fill out this last column, which is the I learned. So this is actually facts and information that you're learning from your research. You would put that in here. So right now you wouldn't be filling that part in. Right now you would just be filling in that K column, the what you already know about this topic, animal defense mechanisms. And you can include stuff that we've talked about in this video that sort of made sense to you and that you understood really well. End of lesson 1.